Welcome to the New Discovery Christian Podcast, where you'll find Bible messaging and sermons that will encourage, uplift, and challenge you to a godlier life. Join our community and become inspired to continue living a God-directed life.
So welcome again to the New Discovery Podcast in Hernando. Here we are in the winter wonderland of Hernando at the moment. We don't know where you are, but man, we're getting hit hard with the weather.
Cold.
Yeah, about 30-something degrees today. So we got the jackets on. We got the fireplace behind us. Cozying up next to it.
Whoa,
a little coffee. Yeah, I don't know what that first word was. But so today we're going to be talking about the difference between, especially since this is teenagers and young adults specifically in this podcast. One thing that me and Javan had kind of thought about and talking with other people was the difference between someone who is just really good looking, let's say they're hot, or versus someone being beautiful. Is that the same thing or is that different? And I really wanted to, I never really talked about this to a long degree with someone, and it really just kind of interested me. And so me and Javan were like, hey, let's talk about this. So, and I think I'm going to get a lot out of this, and I hope you guys will get something out of this as well. So, yeah, so Javan, what do you think? Hot versus beautiful, discussion of the day.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of hot is just like outward appearance. I don't really think of anything else. I just think of like maybe good hair, good skin, good face, good body. That's what I think of hot. But when I think of beautiful, I would say more it's a like beautiful character, or I know I just use the thing, but like having good
Something on the inside.
Yeah, good inward qualities like honesty, good characteristics. Good character is basically what I think of when I think of a beautiful person. And also, when I think of a beautiful person, it's more intimate. Like I feel like I would know the person if I would call them beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I would have a relationship, be it a friend or a significant other. And hot seems to be kind of like you see somebody from afar. You see a girl, in our case, at the grocery store and say, oh yeah, she's hot, but you don't really know her. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do see what you're saying. Yeah. I think you have to get to know someone for it to be beautiful. I think that's a good point. And one thing that I wanted to bring up that I was thinking about yesterday, because I knew we were going to have this podcast. I was thinking last night about how, because we talked about in the Boundary series, I mean, it should be stated, and it should be stated. I know, because we stated it in the Boundary series, the Boundaries episode that we had. And we are, as human beings, and it's not wrong, we are sexual beings. And now how you go about that can be wrong or right. If you read the book of the Song of Solomon, I mean, it really gets intimate in that book. And we're not really going to get into that necessarily. That we're going to be a couple notches below that. But one thing I had thought about is someone being hot or just physically good looking to us is I could have children with them, and those children would have the ability to then have children as well. They'd have a better chance. And that's not wrong or bad, you know? And especially within the giant gap of human history, the normal thing was people didn't live very long. I mean, you were born and you would maybe live, lots of sicknesses, especially a woman can end up passing away within childbirth. It was way higher than it is today. And another thing is that men went off to war all the time. And I mean, battles back then would have been 30,000, 50,000 people. I mean, I don't even think Hernando. I mean, I don't know how big Hernando is, but like a whole city will go to war, and sometimes maybe only a couple thousand came back, and that was a normal thing year to year with warfare. And so there was many widows around, and someone over those thousands and tens of thousands of years, you know, someone's brain would have been wired of, I need to find someone good looking so that I can actually have kids, and then they can have kids, and then they're passed on. And I don't think, I mean, you know, if you're only going to live a couple decades, I mean, that's the main objective there. If you're probably not going to make it into the 70s and 80s in the long term of things, and you know you're just going to pass away, you just want to leave those kids behind. You may be doing the best within a bad scenario. And I think our brains have been wired to a certain degree like that of, oh, good looking, you know, it's good to be with them. Like, at least there's a part of our brain that says that. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but there's another circuitry, and that's kind of like the hot. And then the other one is, if you want the long-term relationship, from a guy perspective, at least, those looks will fade over time with your girl. They're not going to 20, 30 years, no matter how good looking they are, they will never be comparative to 20 teenage, somewhere in that year range anymore. So there's got to be something more. Like you were saying, there's got to be something on the inside that makes you beautiful, because someone who's older can be beautiful. Maybe not hot anymore, but they can be beautiful, like you talked about. So neither of these are wrong in our discussion, but I figured I'd bring that up so we have a little balance going a little deeper into our discussion.
Yeah, I like what you were saying. And to be beautiful as a person, anyone can choose to be beautiful. It's just upgrading your character qualities, getting better through time, and that's what's great about being it. And it will make you stand out from the crowd by trying to better yourself, work on your flaws, try to get better. But being hot, it's kind of what you were given. There's more work into trying to be a good person, trying to be beautiful, and I think it's kind of, people take it for granted. Like, if you're a nice, giving person, that says a lot in society that we live in today. And yeah, back to what you were saying about going off to war and having a short lifespan. Yeah, as a guy, yeah, I'll see girls and be like, man, she's hot, and just want to be with her for that reason, or talk to her for that reason. And while there's not anything immediately wrong about that, I try to, nowadays as I'm going through life, I try not to single out girls as hot, because I feel like that makes them have power over me in a sense, or like to stand out, and I'm not talking to as many girls as I can, like, or having just a good friendship with all girls. I'm just,
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Yeah. So you may narrow it down just because of
looks.
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
Instead of, because my wife could be out there and I'm like not talking to her because I'm talking to Jenny, that's super attractive.
Yeah.
First block or whatever, you know.
Right, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't Yeah, because if you're narrowing your amount of people that you're looking at, you really could cut off whoever that person is, because you may not get in, because you won't know the beautiful until some time goes by knowing that person.
Exactly.
But unless you're only gravitating towards people who are hot, and sometimes, and we could end up using a different word than hot. It's just the only one that really comes to mind. I guess we could say good looking.
Yeah,
it's the same.
It's kind of a crude word.
Yeah, but I guess we could say good looking. I'm going to say good looking. We'll put in the thumbnail. We'll put hot though. It's a little more spicy word.
Ooh, hot.
Yeah, hot. We'll go with that.
Spicy.
But someone who's good looking though, it's someone who's good looking. Someone who's good looking though, it's someone who's good looking. Someone who's good looking though, it's 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 because that person's not always going to be good looking over time. And if you're only going towards that person, then you're narrowing your search range of people that you can possibly get. And like you said, friendships as well. And you don't know where that's going to go one day. And the person that you marry, I mean, they are your best friend.
Your companion, yeah.
Your companion, for
To
life.
the journey of life,
Right.
exactly.
And they are, in a sense, the best of friends than anyone. And if it's only the looks, well, if that goes away, you want something left. And being a best friend, in the end, if you still have that, you really got something going still, I think. But because I've thought about this. I've had to think about this a little bit, and I guess I don't want to speak beyond what I've experienced, because I still think there's a lot more thoughtfulness. I think even in my age, going beyond this, as I get older, I can tell that I'm going to be even more thoughtful about it. But I think it's good to be thoughtful about it right now. But I've tried to think about, my past relationships that I've had, and I know looks were definitely a part of it. I'm not going to...
Yeah, we're guys. I mean,
I'm not going to sit
we're not
here...
going to deny that.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was nothing about looks. There was nothing there. I mean, I wouldn't say that. But that was what it was at first, though. I will admit that was a good bit of it, was the looks. But then later, they started to become not important anymore, I noticed, over time. I didn't think about... Now, I knew they were still good looking, but that was not the thing that stood out to me anymore as the relationship continued to go on. It was, who are they on the inside? And more, that became the important thing to me, was who were they on the inside and who were they becoming? And the way they looked wasn't as important to me. I mean, it was still important, but what the focus was started to shift.
When you're in love with somebody, the looks kind of... Like the beginning of a relationship, it's going to be kind of about looks, because that's immediately what caught your eye and made you talk to the person. Yeah. But when you start to fall in love with them, it kind of gets to a point where just talking to them, just being with them is enough to just satisfy you. Like, you don't need looks to carry it.
Yeah.
And that's what relationships should be like. You should generally like just being around the presence of your significant other.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with being beautiful, having a good character, because it can carry you instead of looks. Because, I mean, looks are going to depreciate. I mean, it's an asset that depreciates. And I think it would be better now to work on that character, work on being beautiful while you're young. And you can work on it any time in life. Yeah. But for our case, I'm almost 20, you're almost 24.
I am 24.
Oh,
I'll be 25.
I am the Senate.
I am.
Okay.
Close enough, though.
But yeah, we're pretty young. We still have a youth about us.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not too late to work on those good character qualities that we can use throughout life and will not depreciate.
Right.
And will ultimately, hopefully, help us get us the spouse that's out there that would be right for us. And I think if you work on yourself, trying to get better at whatever it may be, just fixing your flaws, trying to be a better person for everyone, and ultimately representing God through doing this, you will catch the eye of another girl that's trying to do the same thing, because she'll see you as an ally of sorts, and hey, you might start a conversation there, and you never know. She could be your wife one day, and all you did was portray being a good Christian guy, and you got her attention just by doing that. And that's all the work. You don't have to worry about, oh shoot, should I use this pickup line and pick up her with this, or should I brag about this, or do all those, all the cheesy things guys do to, catcalling nonsense.
Yeah.
And just by being good, being beautiful could carry you and get the attention of a attractive, beautiful girl that's also trying to live in the same way.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I'm not really a person that goes on and hits on girls. That's just weird to me. So that's kind of my take on the matter. I figure if I work on myself and try to be the best person I can be to everyone, and not just for girls' sake, just a guy that can walk in a room and have a relationship with everybody.
Right.
I figure that I can get to know a lot of people by doing that, and it increases my chances of finding the one.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it doesn't make the relationship conditional, as in my care for you or thinking about you or favor with you. I don't know the exact words I'm looking for. Isn't conditional on me going on a date with you. Does that make, I could interact with you and continue to have good interactions with you, regardless if I get anything more out of this relationship. Now there's nothing wrong with asking someone on a date. I mean, you got to pull the trigger at one point if you really want to. If you want to go on a date with this person, pull the trigger on it. But like you said, maybe that won't happen. And don't be like some people where they get all angry and upset. And possibly I'm going down a bit of a rabbit trail on this one. We're getting out.
No,
but,
that's fine.
Some people get super upset. I've heard of some guys where a guy didn't reciprocate and it was like, you're gay or something like that.
Wait,
reciprocate, like going out on a date, or does that make sense?
That's called reciprocating? Oh, okay.
Like if someone wanted to do something, you agreeing to would be reciprocate. Yeah, that would be the word. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I threw out a big word on there.
Forgive my ignorance.
Word of the day, reciprocate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I see what you mean. Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting thing though, when you were talking about your character on the inside though, is that's portrayed out to other people, and that attracts other people. Because I can think of actually. Now I don't say this in a manner it's like, ooh, look at Kyle. I don't want to say it like that, but I know there have been times where I would have been interested in going out with a girl, and she was really good looking, like really, really good looking in the past. And I remember a couple instances in high school and into college. Well, I'm still in college, but out of the 4 years of college, I remember there was some girls, really, really great looking. Let's just say I would jump on the chance.
No, I feel that.
But I knew on the inside they weren't beautiful. That was the problem. And I knew it. Like you were saying, you put those vibes out there. I mean, those vibes can be social media, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be the way you talk with your friends or other people. And I remember I knew that, and I remember I made a decision in my head, and I can't do that. I mean, they're really great looking, but I know on the inside the looks wouldn't matter as much. And then over time, what's left? And, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, I said I wouldn't be satisfied anymore, because the looks wouldn't matter to me anymore. The inside would matter more. And then I would be left in a situation of being in a relation with someone predominantly only looks, and then that doesn't matter to me as much. And then where am I now? And I don't think that's a spot I would want to be in. Now, it would have been awesome if they had worked on the inside, because, really good looking and they're beautiful on the inside, it's like, man, you really, you're like, you're really at the top.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But the
ahead.
only thing I'll add is it made me think of something. Especially, we're two guys here, and we could share some things that especially girls and especially women out there could end up listening to. And because, well, you can always compare yourself good looking to someone else. Someone's always better looking than you. Just go to GQ or something like that. You're going to get knocked out of the park. If you go to that level, you will always get knocked out by someone else. Someone else always, in some genetic way, is better predisposed.
Chris
people
Hemsworth.
Better. Yeah, or what's his name from Jurassic World? What's his?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, if I could look like Chris Pratt's
Chris
cool.
Pratt. Yeah,
his personality is cool too.
Yeah,
he's
just
cool. He's just a cool guy. So is Chris Hemsworth. They're both cool.
Yeah. So like you compare like that, you're always gonna get knocked out. And one thing I thought about though was, and I've encountered this before too, that people who work on the inside maybe they're not as good looking as someone else on the outside, but I've noticed if someone works on the inside, they can rival, and to me, those people who are really good looking, like girl wise, those ones who work on themselves on the inside can begin to rival those ones who are really good looking to me. And they can at least make themselves of equal value, I guess, as a guy. And wanting to date them or surpass possibly, because I see that. Now I still have my own standards physically. I mean, I'm still a human being. I'm still a guy. It's not like I'm, here's Angel Kyle or something like that. That's not the case. But I think that's still true as well, though. Is there still is the looks do matter to a certain degree. But that's not all that matters, though. Mm-hmm. Is those inner
it's
beauty.
a nice addition, but it's not. It's not your whole like. I wouldn't want to be represented by my looks.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't want people to know me for, say, I was a GQ model. I wouldn't want people to know me for if I was a model for my beauty, because that's not all of me. That's just what you see on the outside.
Yeah.
That's not what's on the inside.
Kind of a
when
shallow
I'm thinking about.
version.
Yeah, it's like you don't know me. It's like I feel like people would judge me if it was like that, and I wouldn't want to be just known as like, oh, he's hot, and then that's all they say about me. That'd be like your tombstone, Javan. He was hot. It's like,
so you don't want me to put that on your tombstone, Javan, the hot man.
I mean, I would hope.
you were thinking about it for a minute. You're like, maybe I will.
It's not the only thing I would want.
Javan, here lies the hot guy.
Yeah, here lies the hot guy, Javan.
Oh gosh.
But
someone crosses out the H, and Zach goes up there, crosses the H out, puts an N. Not.
Yeah, he would do that. Yeah, and
oh man,
I would hope they would want to know me for my, honesty, generosity.
Yeah. Your character qualities.
Yeah, being funny. Those are things that I feel like would describe me better because it's my character.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to test yourself on whether you really are with a girl for the right reasons, let's say you were blinded, just suddenly blinded, kind of like that dude in the Bible. Who was that? God blinded him for like it was in the New Testament. Shoot,
It was in the book of Acts.
Maybe.
Well, on the island of Cyprus, Paul and Barnabas.
Was there like a talking donkey in the story? I'm getting off track. But anyway.
Okay, now you got it in my mind though now.
Yeah, we'll see if we can remember it throughout the podcast.
Yeah, I got it saved in the back of my head now.
But let's say you and the girl are in a room.
Okay.
And you're permanently blinded. Would you trust that person and want to spend the rest of your life in that room with that one person?
Yeah.
It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And it definitely,
narrows it down.
And for guys, I feel like, I'm not going to lie, when we're in a relationship for beauty, we can sometimes be blinded by, or we can become kind of like, we're not truly ourselves because we're only in it for beauty, and we get kind of dumbed down. Or at least that's what I feel like. When I feel like I'm just in it for looks, I feel like I'm not in control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm looking for a word that better describes what I'm saying.
You're talking about just the physical qualities?
Yeah, if you're just for that. Because, I mean, like you're saying, we're sexual beings, and we're driven by that, especially as young guys. And
it's not a bad thing if you're not driven by it. You live in your parents' basement for the rest of your life.
And it can be hard
it has a use.
Leaving your significant other if that's just your goal in the relationship.
Right.
Because I'm not going to lie, I mean, we're guys.
Yeah.
But that's not going to matter if you were blinded, say, in a room. It's not, you're going to be stuck with that hearing that person, what she has to say, and you'd have to talk through it. You have to communicate better.
Right.
And ultimately, I think that would fix a lot of divorces, or fix a lot of marriages if people did that little test.
It's kind of almost a pre-test, almost, is what it sounds like to me, because what happens afterwards, and I'm just talking about what I've heard from other people being married and their marriages, and books that I've read of people who are married and do know who they're talking about, because I don't have that experience. But what I've discerned out of that, and before I end up in marriage one day, is the day-to-day. How do you greet each other? What kind of things do you habitually do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis with each other? Communicating with each other. Do you do things together? How do you do that with each other? And those things, your character is what floods into those things. The looks, not necessarily. And I mean, one day, as a guy, the girl's not going to have the makeup on all the time, 100%. Now, when they're looking to date someone, from what I observe, typically the makeup's typically on, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's wrong or anything like that. You're trying to attract someone. That's one of the ways you do it. But that's gonna be rolled back at one point, especially in the house. You're not gonna wear. I mean,
your skin ages. You lose hair. It just
But one thing it reminded me of was, I think it was one of my girlfriends told me in the past that Elvis did not allow his wife to ever be in his presence without makeup. It really shocked me and blew me back a little bit. I was like, I had to think about it. He could not allow her to be perfect around him. And
hold up. He didn't allow her to wear makeup around him, or he wanted her to only wear makeup?
She always had to wear makeup. Always.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she could not be around him without makeup.
Gotcha.
She always had to have makeup on.
Yeah.
And that really made me think for a minute, because it kind of took me back for a minute.
Well, he's in it for the wrong reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Because that means he's only in it for the looks with his wife.
Yeah, that's
shallow.
Your wife, man.
Right.
Dude, that is terrible.
Yeah, and it never went any deeper than that. And there's manipulation in that. And, you could really talk about that and think about that, because it really just made me think. I mean, it was probably 6 to 7 months ago she told me that, but I really had to think on that. Was he just could not, I guess, accept that. He didn't work on the character qualities, and it just shows how shallow probably that relationship really was. And I bet she was always on edge of having to be perfect physically, and then knowing she's going to get older, and then that's the only thing that matters. I mean, what tension in the relationship, because it couldn't get the focus off of the looks and get on to the character.
What's going to happen when she turns 50? She's going to have to get some plastic surgery, get some liposuction.
Dude, I'm sorry. You are shivering right now.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty cold. But
Oh, see, I'm drinking the coffee. You're
and I'm
drinking the
drinking
Monster.
ice cold Monster. Yeah, I'm over here.
I see.
It's gonna.
I'm sorry. I kind of.
It's gonna be.
I saw your cheeks for a minute. Were like,
It's gonna be funny watching this over. I'm gonna be like,
it's a great thumbnails coming up.
yeah.
I'm sorry. You
What were we saying?
you were talking about we're talking about Elvis and we're talking about long-term relationships. Getting into the character qualities.
Yeah, this is definitely like what if a girl was only with me for my looks, and what if I got into a car accident or something and like turn into Harvey Dent Two-Face?
Yeah.
Like
That's a great point.
She'd leave you? That would stink.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah.
Is that people get in car wrecks or disabled from the waist down, and sometimes their wives will just, or reverse. Or reversed, the guy leaves the girl or the girl leaves the guy, and gosh, it makes you think. I honestly have to say that's not an easy decision. Like I get that that's going to be a harder life, but you're supposed to be through thick and thin, and it's
through sickness and in health.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like we all know that it should be deeper than that. We almost ingrained know that it needs to be deeper of why you stick with someone through the long term, and doesn't need to be just the physical. But if we're honest too, it's kind of like we know. I mean, that would really suck if that happened to my wife. To be fair and to say it out loud, it'd be like, man, that would definitely make life harder on everything. Being in a wheelchair, but the reverse to me, I know. But I guess the litmus test is, how would I want my wife to treat me if that happened to me? I would want her to stay. I wouldn't want her to leave or treat me different or special or anything like that. And then that tells me that I need to act in the same way. I need to give out the way that I want to receive. So, I mean, it does. You're right. It makes you think, because maybe you lose an arm, maybe you lose a limb, maybe you lose an eye. It was some guy on Joe Rogan podcast. He's like a senator, I think, and he's got an eye patch. Have you seen him before?
Oh shoot! Yeah,
he looks cool though. Actually, he honestly looks cool from a guy perspective.
He looks like the governor from The Walking Dead.
He does. That's what I'm saying.
He looks exactly like that.
Right, and that's one thing that I thought of. But man, he has an awesome eye patch. I mean, if I lost an eye, I'd be like, man, tell me where you got that from.
Lose an eye now.
Maybe I would just put the eye patch on. I didn't lose an eye, But
this is an aside. Did you know? Now I'm not sure the validity of this.
Yeah,
but they say girls like guys with scars. Like,
I think I've heard that before.
And I think that goes back to back in the old days when you'd come back from war and you'd have those battle scars. That means that you're ultimately you were the champion. You won whoever you came into combat with, and I think that's why.
I mean, it's
a little aside on the topic.
It's probably somewhat of a masculine / this guy.
This guy's seen some
crap.
He's
a go-getter.
Yeah.
He's not too scared to fight.
He's not a soy boy.
Right, yeah, he's not a soy boy, Well, it probably tells that he's willing to fight. If I had kids with him, he's willing to fight and protect us. Like he already has. So it's probably something psychological like that. I mean, I don't know. That's the best way I can think of it. I mean, that kind of makes sense. If you have kids, you don't want getting robbed. And, and then he just runs away. It's like, that's not the dude you want. You want him to stay in the ground and put his life on the line.
Exactly. That's what guys need to remember too. Girls are not just looking for a beautiful guy. At least most girls aren't. They're looking for a protector, a guardian.
And those are character qualities.
Yeah, somebody that can defend the house, defend the family when there gets to be one. And about those battle scars, that kind of shows that you're not just a dude that sits home and plays Call of Duty all day and just gets on Reddit and posts crap on the internet like a little incel.
And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But if that's all you do.
But that's all you do, and that's what...
That's going to get you in trouble when it comes to getting a girl. I can tell you that.
It's going to be like, what do? Yes, I am prestige level 6 at Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah, that's not what you want to say.
I don't think this guy can defend me if a robber comes in, unless it's on Call of Duty.
But he could, and then he's like, well, I can use an M4 on Call of Duty.
I can quick scope 360 no scope trick shot.
I'll do it in real life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But you made me think about something about the character qualities in the scars. And guys, because you talking about because you talked about the gaming and the Reddit, and that's someone who's not taking risks as well, and they're not pursuing things in life, and they're not like a career or job, school, education, meeting new people. You have to have some character. You have to have courage under you. Mm-hmm. I mean, to go out there and into the job force, career force, into school, that takes courage to go do those things. You have to be courageous and bold and be strong to be able to do those things and continue doing that. Oh, what you pouring there?
A little monster action.
Yeah, looks good. Yeah. Not a sponsor. Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
But that's a character quality that you can see, at least from a guy's perspective, on the inside of he can continue to work on that throughout the rest of his life. And that could be very attractive because that also floods into a marriage and into having kids and standing up for them and not, it could be very easy to not be courageous in those relationships and push for what's best, even though there's things in those relationships or things that are going on that can make you want to recede and not stand up for what's right, even though you may get pushback for it. But you do it anyways because you know what's good ultimately, even though you're going to get a bunch of junk for doing what's right. And that's kind of like, that's reflecting that, as a guy. And because we've talked a little bit of what girls can get our perspective on things, but this is one thing that guys can listen to and to work on themselves to get the girl that they want. Mm-hmm. But it starts on the inside though. It's to be that guy. And I mean, another thing, that's really good, but be someone willing to get better at communicating is another thing, which is very important. Actually
yourself.
Listening to people. Yeah. If my interactions with girls, if there's a guy who has the ability to listen, not think of things they're going to say next, actually listen to what someone's saying, immediately, it's like you become like a gem, like immediately to them. It's this guy's willing to listen to me. Now, the other things are important too. I mean, if a guy's good looking, if he's funny, if he's tall, all those things, that's kind of like the girl version of kind of what we've talked about, which is, we're not saying any of those are wrong necessarily, but if, as a guy, let's say
you can't be banking on just your height or
right.
Yeah,
maybe you're not tall, maybe you're not good looking.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're no matter what, your looks are going to go away. Even your height is going to go away because as you get older, you shrink. So, to a certain degree, it's gonna degrade. It's more like milk. It's gonna go stale over time. It's not gonna last. Whereas in these character qualities are like a fine wine. It just gets better with time as you work on it. That's kind of the way I see it. And if guys are willing to work on some of these character qualities, it makes their value go up in time as that wine sits. Mm-hmm. Versus if you're putting all your bank into milk to last long or get better, you're wrong. It's going to be disappointing when you come in for a sit for it because it's going to be nice and sour and chunky and it's like, oh gosh, what happened to this? And that's not what you want to invest into. You want to invest in those character qualities, and then you snowball it. Because it doesn't matter. It's not going to get worse. It's kind of like a house. The equity goes up and up and up and up. But if you're running a house, say, or something like that, or maybe you're always in an apartment. Don't bank on the equity going up and up and up. It's just going to be you have an apartment.
Yeah.
It's not gonna snowball and get better and better necessarily. I mean, you'll live there, but you're just getting what you pay for.
Yeah. Some guys just think of being with the girl as kind of like rent. Like, I'm with Jenny, but I'm probably not gonna be with her in 3 years. It's kind of like, and that's bad.
It's kind of a sign of
you should not be
immaturity.
wasting a girl's time. And I know a lot.
You're wasting your own time too.
You are, but she's getting the worst end of the deal because she ultimately is in the dark about
because it's his timetable.
She thinks you're in love with her or likes her for her.
And may even think you're going to get married from her perspective.
Yeah,
maybe that's going to happen.
Like,
and then you're sitting there saying to your boys, what, 3 years? Nah, it's not going to. Ooh.
You just need to be straight up. I mean, if you're going to do that, you need to be honest and just say, I only like you for this reason. And if they choose to accept you for that, I mean, that's on them.
Yeah.
But you can't be... that's just a waste of both your time.
That just reminds me of relationships from middle school and high school. It's based off of very surface layer things. Are they
long Justin Bieber hair?
Right.
Long Nike Elite socks.
Exactly. Who does he remind me of a celebrity or something like that? Now, of course, the good looks are going to be in there, but is he popular? What? Like, that tends to be the only thing. And it's like hyper focused on those things even more than adults say. But some adults never get out of that. And I've always noticed that into the 20s and 30s, anyone who doesn't get out of that immaturity, as in they don't balance themselves. They don't get balanced out towards these longer term things. They only focus on that. I'm tending to see a lot of 20-year-olds, especially getting into later 20s, who are noticing because in middle school and high school, you date someone because you want to go to prom, you don't want to be alone, and it's all looks. I get these photographs, and oh, look who I came with, and then you typically
flexing,
see, then they end up breaking up or something.
Dude,
like that.
I've seen a ton of breakups after prom. It's what you're saying is the hard truth.
It's just a look. It's a look thing, and who are they?
Just,
they came with me, and it's kind of that's it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you got to learn some kind of way within those ages. Again, you naturally mature, but getting out of that immaturity gets more embarrassing. Maybe that's the way I could put it. I'm not saying it's all right, but it gets more embarrassing as I see 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds who they only date someone because they don't want to be for looks typically. Other things as well, if you get me. They just want to have a sexual relationship with this person. It's only looks, or they don't want to be alone or something along those lines. And they know that, and I've talked with them sometimes. I know I'm not, they'll say, I know I'm not going to be with this person in 3 years or get married to them. And in my mind, well, why are you doing it? Well, I got to be with someone. Well, they're good looking and that. I'm like, but you're burning your time though. You're just, especially as a girl, you're just adding the furnace. You're burning it up because your good looks can be a beneficial thing in getting you a good guy. Because if you wait, the good guys may be gone, and your value, or I guess on a surface layer, there's more value in a woman being good looking versus a guy. Some of his value can be things like, does he have a good career? Is he hardworking? Is he continuing his education? Those things can continue on, as he gets older, and he can still have value. Whereas you do get into a danger zone when you play around like that, especially as a woman, and you end up mid-30s. And I'm not saying this to get on the women necessarily and be mean. I'm saying it because I've seen girls later 20s and 35 and they're in crisis zone, and I don't like seeing that.
Like they're single?
Yeah, well they haven't nailed down some of them have played around.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that Yeah, some of them have just gone on dates, but they didn't think about the long term of things, and it was, I'm just dating for the sake of dating.
They just rode on their beauty, is what you're saying, kind of like rode the wave of beauty, and then when it finally crashed down, they start getting to the 30s, they're like, well, I haven't upgraded my character.
Yeah, the biological clock is ticking, and that is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, it is, I mean, the value of things is guys date same age down generally. Maybe a year or two above, but generally that's what guys do. Yeah. But with girls, they date, so they're down, that's way more people. Guys, same age down. That's a lot more people. With girls, it's only above. So that will lower your ability, because as guys get older, you will become not on the same basis. Does that make sense? And then if you're looking for the same guy, the pool of people is reduced, because girls won't date generally someone who's makes less money than them, for instance. Generally, it's at least the same or above financially. So if it's only above, that's a fewer amount of people, and as time goes by, that will shrink more and more and more. Whereas then that won't happen with guys. As they get generally older and older and older, the pool of people can actually is same/increase. But it's just kind of worse on girls in a way. Now it still can be bad on guys, because if you didn't work on your character qualities, I've known guys where they just dated, or they didn't work on their character qualities, and they wouldn't go out and take risks and date people. And they would say, when I start to hear all women or all guys, when I hear that statement, they're in a danger zone mentally, because they're
blaming all girls for their problems or all guys for their problems.
Right, yeah.
Like
and
an
then
incel.
Yeah. That you get in a danger zone, because you're saying, when I'm in a relationship with people, then the faults are on them on why it doesn't work. And then you give that to all women or guys, you're self-defeating. I mean, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. And then you won't date, you won't take risks, you won't be accountable to yourself character-wise, like we were just talking about with those character qualities. You shoot yourself in the foot with those character qualities, and then you're not putting off those good vibes anymore of those character qualities for the long term of things. And then you can only be with those shallow people, because that's the only people you could be with, because you're not working on those character qualities. And then again, that may reinforce your mindset of all women or all guys at that point. And then that gets bad. And then I've heard of guys who they refuse to date girls anymore, because they put themselves into that loop of all women are just in there for your money, or all women want to wreck your life. And that's becoming a bigger and bigger topic. And that's the mindset that they have. And it's self-defeating. It's going to hurt them in the long term of things. And I don't know where that kind of life leads. It just sounds like it's going to lead to bitterness.
Yeah. I have something really big I want to add to that, but we need to take an intermission, because I'm about to explode.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. A little intermission.
A little intermission. Yeah, we're going to get back to this.
All right. Our first intermission. The man's about to blow up.
Oh my gosh, it's live.
5 minutes later.
All
and
right.
we're back from the intermission. I almost said it. And we're back from the admission.
Admission. The intermission. We're getting old on this podcast. That's from the old television shows, man. Like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. They have an intermission for like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, lollipop.
Uh-oh. Call us Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. But you were the last one talking.
So you can bank on your looks if you're a guy or a girl in the long run, like you were saying, going into your early 20s, and then when you get to your later 20s, it starts to creep up on you that you're aging.
Yeah.
And you can bank on those. And I was actually going to bring this up.
Yeah.
Remember that show that I used to watch in the summer, and I was like, it was called Love Island. You remember that show?
I remember you talking about it. Yes,
Dude,
yeah, I
that
remember
show is. I watched it more of to be ironic. I didn't watch it because I actually liked it.
Yeah,
And what would happen is they would bring. I'm just gonna be honest. They would bring a bunch of hot people on to the show, and you would have to pair up with somebody
yeah.
else that was hot. They'd bring out 8 girls and 8 guys, and somebody would get kicked off the island.
Is it kind of like a Bachelorette, like those shows?
Yeah, it's
kind of
like it's a British. It's a British reality kind of game show
with its own twist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay, I'm with you.
And all of the guys were super attractive. All the girls were super attractive. And it was really interesting watching what they went for in each other because they were all really attractive. And there was this one guy that it kind of reminded me of he was like a mix of who's the dude from High School Musical?
I know who you're talking about, though. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Zac Efron. That's what I'm thinking of.
that's
He was
it.
like a mix of Zac Efron and Justin Bieber.
Uh-oh.
And I was like,
He's a lady killer.
This dude's going to kill in this because it had a little intro for all of them. And he was like, yes, I'm Josh. I'm looking for love on the island. And that's how he talks.
Accent.
Yeah, they all had British accents.
man.
And so the girls, I think he actually paired up with a ton of the girls on the island because you have to pair up in order to win the week.
Yeah.
And you have to be coupled up, I guess. And all the girls at first were like, "Oh, Josh is so hot. Oh, he's so fine. Oh yeah, he works." And they had weird little lingo. They'd
He
say,
works?
They'd be like, they'd also say when you get rejected by a guy, they called it pieing. And they'd be like, "I hope he doesn't pie me.
Huh.
I'm just hoping he doesn't pie me." But anyway, that's beside the point.
Interesting. Yeah.
They used a bunch of different diction than
Maybe I'll
we
start
do.
using those.
Yeah.
Pie.
Girl, you trying to pie me? that might not go
Yeah.
over
Well, what are those? When you say that, I just think of Popeyes. You trying to pie me? Here, I'm gonna pie you, Javan. You need to warm up.
Yeah. But anyway, gosh, we just went into a black hole.
You almost made me blow up with the coffee, man. Dude, it started coming up my nose slightly.
Oh my
I could feel it.
gosh.
It was gonna be bad because it's pretty hot right now.
Oh,
Woo, buddy.
give you a little breather.
Oh, yeah, I would have woken you up with some coffee on your face from my nose.
It cooled me off. I'm cold.
Oh.
But
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just made that worse.
all the girls like Josh for his outward appearance, and they were all crazy about him. They were like, "Oh, I really want to pair up with Josh," because the girls had the power in the show. Like they could pick and they could break up a couple by saying, they had the first say in the guy they'd want for the beginning of the week.
Okay, yeah.
And really, just about every girl liked Josh, but once they were paired up with them, they wouldn't stay with them because he was really absorbed in himself, and they would and he was probably one of the most attractive guys on there, but when they were with him, he was kind of shallow, and the really attractive girl they brought on there that chose him for his looks. And she ultimately chose another guy because she was just like, I'm just not feeling it with Josh. He just doesn't get me. He's not. I think she said he wasn't he seemed dumb. She said something like that.
Yeah, but she's reading all this from him though.
I'm not gonna lie, he was pretty perverse in what he said. It was like everything that came out of his mouth was sexual, and that's the whole relationship was just a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
And while guys will do that,
Yeah,
it's
I've seen some
ultimately
guys
that's
talk
not
like
going to
that.
last because a sexual relationship is just based on looks.
Yeah. And those girls are going to pick up on
And,
it's just a
yeah,
sexual
they'll pick
relationship.
up
They
on-
don't want to be,
Yep.
they're not in for that. If that's all it is, that's shallow. So, yeah. But I'm glad you brought that because it was like what I was talking about earlier was you can shoot yourself in the foot if you think you know, for the long term, if you think that's going to help you, the looks, they're not going to last the long term. The inside is what's going to help you out with that long term. And I think some people, when it comes to looks and things like that, they bank on that hard, and then you attract people who bank on just the looks. But those people are going to leave, and you shoot yourself in the foot with people that you want to stick with long term because you put off the vibe of that short term relationship. And look at that. That looks maybe have some value, but look how they lost people. It wasn't valuable enough, and those girls left. And it could be vice versa. It could be, girl with a guy putting off different vibes. I typically don't see girls who put off a sexual vibe, but maybe different ones. But again, both sides, don't bank on the looks too much, because, I was bringing up, there were some girls I had thought about wanting the date, and they were good looking, but I knew on the inside years from now, and just like them, some of them, the whole show is kind of shallow. And look at that.
Yep.
They got out of it quicker. And
Yeah.
their character qualities are even lower, I mean, I at least hope my character qualities are higher than that show. At least that, I'd like to think that.
Well, they all were privileged in a sense with their beauty, and I think
Yeah.
they're so used to getting things like easy because of their beauty, and they're not used to having to
work
maybe
work on it.
work
For it.
have banking on personality.
Yeah, because one thing that I could think of is that I've worked on, and I didn't just try to bank on looks or anything like that. I remember I've always, in relationships with my previous girlfriends, I've always learned something of how to become more character developed. And one thing, for instance, that I was not as good at with my last relationship that I can share was I wasn't as good as being very gentlemanlike in certain things, and some of that may be our culture we're living in, that because some people would connect that with being misogynistic if you hold a door open for a girl or open a car door for him. She would always emphasize how important it was for me to open the door for her on a car, just because that was gentlemanlike. And she always emphasized that because that actually came up as an issue in the relationship. Not, she wasn't getting completely angry. I mean, but I asked her, was there anything, you want to talk about or anything like that? And I didn't get a vibe that there was an issue in the relationship, but I just wanted to ask, just, you never know. And because I try to be someone who works on myself. I mean, it could be uncomfortable. Typically
It's supposed to
uncomfortable. Yeah. But she brought that up, and I was actually really surprised. I didn't think that was on the radar as an important thing. And she's, I would really, if you open up the door, it's just, I like that. And I look for that in a guy, and that's very valuable to me because he's very courteous to me. And it's the guy's looking out for the girl, for the woman. And I like that feeling of the guy looking out for me like that. It's like a protective, he's protective, looking out for me. And I really had to think about that. And I started to work on it with opening doors for her. And
So you got better. You got better through that correction. or
Yeah.
That,
and there
what
was
she
other
wanted.
things too. She said, "Don't walk ahead of me when you're walking." And she said, maybe it's because you're taller or something. You got longer legs, and maybe that's. And I had to think about that. Maybe I have a quick pace. I don't know, but I just thought about it, and I wasn't trying to be defensive. And I was, She's like, I don't want you to walk ahead of me because it seems like we're not together or something like that. I wanted to
I feel
walk
that.
together, and I was like, okay, I didn't really notice that. So now when when I was walking with her, I started to notice I would do that, and then I would try to slow down the pace. And also walking on the streets, it was walk on the outside, where I'm on the inside, closer to like the buildings, and you closer to like the roads, because that's very protective. It's like you're shielding me. And I really had to think about that, because that's kind of like what guys do, being courageous, being strong, looking out for the weakest among us, the vulnerable among us, because, we're guys, generally we're physically stronger and have that protective feeling of, that father-like figure. And I had to think about that because our culture kind of tries to reduce that, but that actually is attractive, because it's like, well, he's going to be protective and look out for me as a husband, and protect and look out for the kids.
Yeah, you want somebody that can you can trust to play the role in a family.
Right. So that was one last thing I could think of if we ended up throwing something. I mean, it's not an all-inclusive. You're going to get some girls by doing that because that's not the motive.
You do learn. Yeah, you learn a lot from relationships, and I think God puts some girls in our life to be lessons because we can't just learn those lessons ourselves. We have to be put into the battlefield, so to speak. And He might put a girl into your life as kind of like maybe she teaches you something.
Yeah.
And teaches you need to get better in this, and you can't get that anywhere else. So
right.
And let's say she breaks it off with you, and then you're blaming God, and you're like, God, I loved her. Gosh, it was so perfect. Why did it have to end? And well, maybe God just put that girl in your life to help you get better for the one that's in the future.
I completely agree with you. Yeah.
And like you were saying, she corrected you, and so for that next person you're going to be with, you will be better because you'll have that past experience under your belt.
I've already worked on it.
Yeah.
I'll probably work on it some more, but I start to perfect it a little bit.
Yeah. I've been told, shoot, man, I've gotten a lot of complaints, but
I mean, I have too. That was just one example. But I mean, that's a good thing though. It's good that you're getting, because that means generally you're receptive towards getting that criticism. If you don't get criticism, you won't get better.
Yeah, criticism ultimately helps you in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my biggest thing that I had a problem with, I think two girls told me this, so it's not just a
okay, so
thing.
Yeah.
It just, I had to get better on being more serious because I have a problem, and I'm trying to work on this now and get better, with always being a jokester, never taking things seriously, and they never feel like they can trust what I'm saying to be true. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like they think, oh, is he being sarcastic? Is he being ironic? Is he being funny? And they can't tell. So
yeah,
I was probably being 70% humor, 30% serious. I'm there with you. I'm listening to what you have to say.
Yeah.
I'm caring about what you have to say. And I've been trying to fix that. And now that I know that I was unaware. I thought I was being witty. I thought I was being a cool guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But I didn't pick up on it, that I was being too much of a good you know what I'm saying? Too much funny.
It was
in the
too
mix.
much. Yeah, it was too much.
I was being a clown.
On your own, you couldn't pick up on that. Yeah.
Yeah, on my own, and I had to have those two girls to tell me, and not at the same time, by the way. But
we weren't assuming you were dating two girls at once.
Yeah,
yeah. Just for the audience, David wasn't
just
dating two at one time.
clarification.
Yeah, dang. I'm
And,
like, what's to say? Let's talk about that
next podcast.
Next podcast.
But yeah, I wouldn't have picked up on that I was doing that until they told me, and now that I'm out of those two relationships, I'm able to get better for that next girl that comes along, and I won't have to struggle with that. So
that's a good point.
It was
too.
a learning experience. It helped me learn.
Yeah. The one thing
I don't really regret that those two happened because it helped me get better. It helped me get better to where I am today. And I mean, that's just the way I look at the past. I don't look at anybody with hate.
Yeah.
Like some guys will just, one girl will break up with them, get with another guy maybe the next week, and they'll be like, oh, girls are, I don't even know, insert offensive name. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Girls are bad, and women have ruined my life.
Right.
Well,
vampire is one thing that I've heard is all women are vampires. They suck the life out of you. That's one that's
that's just.
But I don't believe that.
You've got. I'm assuming one girl made you this way. One girl out of what? There's 7 billion people in the world,
or maybe you're attracting that one type of person.
Half. That's 1 in 3.5 billion people.
Yeah.
So not all girls are like that. And when you say all girls are like that, that's a blanket statement.
A blanket
and that's
statement.
Not, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not.
It's an ignorant statement.
Yeah,
is
it's
what
just-
it is.
Yeah, you just had a bad time. And as a guy, I'll just say to you, suck it up and learn from, try to pinpoint what went wrong
Yeah.
and fix that for next time.
One thing that
And,
you
yeah.
also, I'm kind of circling back to what you were talking about with the humor a little bit, only because the three things that are kind of attractive surface, I guess, you got the humor for guys, what is his height, and is, good looking. I mean, those can be things that are, especially humor and the height thing. I mean, those are two biggies for guys that we kind of have. As the same thing for good looking with girls, it would be kind of equivalent. And it made me think because, you do boost your value being humorous as a guy. Whereas in girls can be humorous. I've heard girls can never be humorous. I don't agree with that. But most aren't because they don't have to be to attract a guy. Like, I don't look for humor in a girl as like a value. I don't. I mean, that's not what I look for. But girls generally, if a guy's funny, it's kind of like, oh, he's kind of attractive.
Because
It's
being funny kind of like, I think it
breaks the ice.
Kind of shows,
life can be so
shows
hard
confidence.
sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't
That
show
too.
that you're taking things
You're
so
taking
seriously.
risks when you're doing humor.
Exactly, and you're not being a little like emotional, like, oh, what I just
Right.
said was embarrassing.
Oh, did I hurt your feelings?
Oh, now my face is turning red and I'm start to stutter. Yeah, you can't be nervous. You gotta own.
It shows
own what you
confidence,
say and-
yeah, courage by doing it.
Yeah.
But I bring it up that there's a good thing, but an overemphasis can be bad for you. As in the because we were talking about girls, overemphasis on the good looks can hurt you. Let's circle it back with the guys. The humor can be too much and not being serious as well. And that's good for guys to listen to as well. It's not like stop being humorous, stop being funny. It's
Yeah,
not like that. It's
but-
you need to balance it out a
Yep.
bit. You need to know those scenarios where you need to be serious with certain things, because one of the worst things you can do is laugh when something's serious. If someone needs to talk about an issue that you have with them and you're laughing,
Yeah,
it is so bad.
The trust is out the window.
Right, and trust is you can't have that's your bedrock, and without that, but that was the last thing that I can think of, because I wanted to end on the character qualities, and I think we wrapped up really good, kind of something that people can take away from here at the end. So yeah, thank you for joining this podcast with me and Javan today. I think we learned a little bit today. I know I did, at least, being able to work this out. This isn't a conversation I've actually worked out in a one-on-one conversation, actually, like that. I've thought about it, but it really helped me. So, I mean, we can only hope, you guys have learned a little bit with us. And if you have, we just ask that you like this video. If you want to promote it for other people like you, being able to find us, it really honestly helps us out a lot, especially with YouTube right now. They generally favor bigger channels versus a smaller channel like us. So we only say that because it helps get it out there, helps get the message out there. If you subscribe to us, that also helps us. Hitting the bell button, because that's something you have to do to get
Notifications.
notifications, get those messages to us. And again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one, on the next podcast. See you
Peace.
later.